Published 1910 EDT, the 10th of September 2017. Updated 1910 EDT, the 10th of September 2017. The Premier League returned following the international break, and we were treated to a number of thrills and spills. Manchester City thrashed Liverpool 50 as Crystal Palace continues to be under pressure after a 4 consecutive defeat. Here, Sportsmail gets the fans' verdict following the latest weekend of action. Kevin De Bruyne impressed yet again for Manchester City as they beat Liverpool 5-0. CITYSteven Allweis. View from a BlueA. Shaky few minutes at the start when Liverpool exploited Otamendis' frailties, but as soon as we got De Bruyne and Silva on the ball, it was a completely different game. Liverpool were abysmal after the red card, in direct contrast to City a few weeks back versus Everton, when Peps' tactics and a spirited response saw us fight back. It was men against boys in the second half as we coasted through. Mendy looks a brilliant addition, and Stones was superb at the back. He always gets slated when he makes a mistake, but barely mentioned when he's solid in defense. Starman Kevin De Bruyne. Liverpool Dave Usher. The Liverpool way. Despite trailing 10, Liverpool had been the better side until a controversial red card for Sadio Mane ended the game as a contest. The Reds didn't just lose Mane, as Jurgen Klopp also sacrificed Mohamed Salah in a doomed effort at damage limitation. He may as well have just carried on attacking, because asking this team to dig in and defend, especially against City, is never going to end well. It was shambolic and embarrassing, but it's best to just forget it and move on. Starman nobody. Sadio Mane was shown a red card in the game against Manchester City. Arsenal. Peter Wood. Le Gros vs Wenger benched away Alexis Sanchez and operated an innovative strategy of playing his best players in their correct positions. The team worked hard, the front three particularly industrious. Aaron Ramsey looked composed and dangerous in midfield, and Lacazette repaid some of the mega fee with a sublime top corner finish. Danny Welbeck is the perfect Premier League striker specimen, bar the goals. Today he scored 2, and assisted 1, totally justifying his place in the starting 11. Arsenal are back, but everyone has the joy on ice, with the real test at Chelsea next week. Starman Danny Welbeck. Bournemouth. Peter Bell. Cherry chimes. An appalling game by FC Bournemouth. 1 goal down in 5 minutes, they found forward passing an almost impossible task. Worse still, a second goal came straight down through the middle of the pitch. The long pass put Nathan Ake in all sorts of bother with Alexander Lacazette. No points, no ideas and no hope just about sums up AFC Bournemouth. This was a shambles. The next match against Brighton is enormous. It's hard to pick out a player who even put in an average performance, but Charlie Daniels kept going and got his crosses in. Starman Charlie Daniels. Arsenal's Danny Welbeck is the perfect Premier League striker specimen. Brighton. Simon Cox. Brighton fansway took the game to West Brom and bossed them off the park. We played with passion, attacked from the off, and won the second balls. The further up the park our midfield operated, the better we looked. Shame Ryan didn't get the clean linen he deserved, but every man in blue and white gave his all. Pascal Gross pulled the strings and pulled the trigger. Quietly brilliant and my man if the match. Starman Pascal Gross. Bromwell's Newton. Read West Bromwell. That was embarrassing. We were completely outplayed by a team that hadn't scored a league goal all season. Palace got his team selection all wrong, with 3 holding midfielders and changing 3 of the back 4. The only positive was Oliver Burke, who came on too late to make a significant difference. Changes are needed before West Ham at the Hawthorns next week. Starman Craig Dawson-Pascal Gross celebrates scoring Brighton's second goal against West Brom on Saturday. Everton Joel Parker Toffee analysis: didn't think it could get worse than the Chelsea game. Why did I ever doubt Everton on ruining my weekend? Koeman got it wrong from the start, playing us in a 4,231, the most breakable formation in the league versus the team who break through it the easiest. It said a lot when Pickford had more touches than half our team in the first 45. Martina and Williams were noticeably weak and there was zero creativity from our midfield. The only positive is Kane captains my fantasy football team. Leighton Baines the only one who deserves any credit. Does Koeman's job need questioning? Yes, from Mestar man Leighton Baines. Barnaby Slater. The Football Republic Spurs are back. The August Blues banished by a display that showed how consistency in team selection and not signing too many players at once is the smart way to prosper. Christian Eriksen ran the game and none of Everton's expensively assembled squad could get near the Danish magician as he pulled the strings throughout. As if 30 at Goodson wasn't brilliant enough, Harry Kane also broke his duck for the season with one fluke and another sublime finish. Now to break the mythical Wembley hoodoo. Starman Christian Eriksen. Christian Eriksen was again a key player for Tottenham as they beat Everton away from home, Leicester Warwick LCFC.com and others so near so far. I feel like we could come away from the game with a draw even though Chelsea dominated possession and had twice as many shots. After a close first half when Slimani should have scored to put us in the lead, we were undone by 2 goals either side of half-time. Very hard to come back against the champions then. Vardy was his usual pest and got us back into the game. Questionable subs again from Shakespeare. Starman Wilfred ended a Chelsea and ECB. Chelsea daft bolstered by new additions to the squad, who have provided immediate competition for places, and Eden Hazard's return to fitness. Chelsea fans will wake up this morning feeling good and looking forward to the return of Champions League to Stamford Bridge. Cesc Fabregas ran our midfield, having been asked to play further forward, and was supported by a cast of hard-working teammates throughout the side that he had shut Leicester out but also caused them plenty of problems all day. After Jamie Vardy's penalty, Chelsea withstood late pressure and took a much-needed 3 points. Bring on Arsenal next weekend. Starman Cesc Fabregas. Chelsea's Cesc Fabregas used his influence to great effect against Leicester on Saturday. Southampton Aidan Small, fresh Saints when the stadium erupts into a round of applause for a shot on target in the 92nd minute. You know it's been a horrendous afternoon. No style of play, tactically inept, and void of any inspiration. We were bullied off the park both physically and tactically, while the visitors acted as a cruel reminder of how Mauricio Pochettino once had our side playing. Ward-Prowse isn't a number 10, Davis isn't a defensive midfielder, and Forster once again failed to step up. That's 3 goals in our last 9 home games, 2 of which being penalties. Where on earth are the goals going to come from? Starman Cedric Soares. What for David Anderson? Golden Pages fanzine. At this rate, I'd better start counting my air miles for all those trips to Madrid and Milan next year. We probably would have taken a draw before kick-off, but our second away game of the season surprisingly turned out to be our second comfortable win. Nathaniel Chalobah, Abdoulaye Doucouré and Tom Cleverley bossed the midfield in the first half, and it was fitting that Doucouré scored the opener with a great strike. Although the Saints grew into the game after half-time, we managed to keep them at bay. Kiko Femenya's injury even turned out to be a blessing in disguise, as Daryl Yantmart replaced him and scored almost immediately to seal the win. Starman Abdoulaye Doucouré. Watford's Abdoulaye Doucouré scored Watford's opening goal against Southampton. Stoke. Martin Smith. The Oatcake fanzine. There are days when a draw feels almost as good as a win, and this was one of those. Stoke were excellent, and the pre-season doom merchants were served another ample slice of humble pie. A really good Stoke side is coming together under Mark Hughes this season, and the evidence of that was on show here. Manchester United are looking like genuine title contenders under Jose Mourinho, but the Potters gave them a genuinely tough game, as we did with Arsenal in our previous home match. We had so many contenders for the man of the match accolade, but Maximus gets the nod for his 2-goal heroics. Starman Maxim Cho. Promoting Manchester United. Some people's the people's person. United were their own undoing at Stoke. Our defence had been watertight in the first 3 Premier League games of the season, but mistakes cost us for both of Stoke's goals. A point at Stoke is a good result, but Jose Mourinho will be angry at the avoidable errors which cost us 2 more. David De Gea has to be man of the match, if only for that incredible save against G's. That will be save of the season. Starman David De Gea. Manchester United goalkeeper David De Gea was the starman in the draw against Stoke. Burnley. Tony Scholes. Up the Clarets. A 10-home win against Crystal Palace looks routine, but that doesn't tell the whole story. Palace were very much the better side, having gifted us a goal in only the 3rd minute. Ultimately it's the points you get, and today we got 3 from what was our worst performance of the season. You could hear the collective sigh of relief all around Turf Moor when the final whistle went. This was certainly no advert for a return to 442 with the midfield overrun at times, but that's where my man of the match comes from. Jack Cork must be totally exhausted after that performance, but his work on and off the ball, aligned with his running, makes him the #1 candidate for our best player. Starman Jack Cork. Crystal Palace. J. Crane. The Eagles beat clearly a team lacking any kind of confidence, but this was a marked improvement on previous weeks. No faulting the players, but for another defensive lapse we would have got something out of this game. 4 defeats and no goals is clearly not good enough. The pressure continues to mount on Frank de Boer, and while many will be calling for him to go, even in defeat there are plenty of positives. Starman Johan Cabaye. Midfielder Jack Cork was key for Burnley as they overcame Crystal Palace at Turf Moor. Swansea. Declan Terry. Read Swansea. To say that this defeat is disappointing would be an understatement. Optimism amongst the Swansea fans was very high going into the game following the captures of Renato Sanchez and Wilfried Bony. However, we looked sloppy and lethargic throughout. There was a severe lack of creativity and options going into the final third. It wasn't the performance a result we expected, and if we play like that against Spurs next week, we could get sorted. Hopefully it's a one-off. Starman Lukasz Fabianski. Newcastle. Tom Bohr. Read Newcastle. Jamal Lascelles played a key role at both ends as Rafael's Newcastle made it back-to-back wins in the Premier League. Mikel Merino was lucky not to receive a yellow card for his dive. It was a dampener on what was another top-drawer performance from the Spaniard. Merino and Isaac Hayden coped well with Swansea's 4 central midfielders. John Joe Shelvey will have to wait a little longer for his comeback. It was a huge relief when the referee opted not to send off Matt Ritchie for his high boot after the Sadio Mane incident, but the right decision was made. Starman Jamal Lascelles. Jamal Lascelles celebrates scoring the only goal of the game as Newcastle beat Swansea.